All right, so it's a beautiful Thursday morning here on Jasiri, and today we are diving into an inspiring story of academic excellence. Imagine this, an entire graduating class of first-class honors students from the University of Lagos, and they are all women. Now, this remarkable achievement not only highlights academic brilliance, but also challenges stereotypes. It redefines gender expectations and also highlights the potential of Nigerian women to lead in education and beyond. We'll be talking to two of the trailblazing graduates in just a few moments. But you know, we like to ease you into the day's show. I know there was something we're supposed to discuss on Wednesday, but the surrogacy conversation spilled over. Tea, that's true. Over to you.
Spill the tea, tea.
Spill the tea.
It had to come from you.
Tea.
And you said we should travel with her, Lolo. Did you say we should travel with this one?
Don't say tea together. Just say spill the tea. Because if you join it together, it means something else.
Spill the tea.
Good.
Oh my God.
If it's joined together, it means something else.
As I was saying, thank you very much. So I was doing what I do when I have some downtime, which isn't often, and that was strolling the streets of Instagram when I came across Oluwaseun Jones-Stevens' story. Now, for those of you who don't know, she runs an NGO for widows, and she was one of our guests last year. After she lost her husband in a tragic incident a few years ago, and she was left to raise 3 children on her own, the last born that she didn't even know she was pregnant with when her husband died. Now, in her stories, she was warning widows about trusting their spouse's family and shared 2 heartbreaking stories. So her first post basically was just leading us into the story. And it said, if you're a widow and you live alone and your in-laws who you haven't seen for some time call that they want to see their late brother's children or son or whoever it may be, give them a date when your parents, friends, or relatives people are around. They are not around to show up unexpectedly, and if they do, do not open the door, especially if they are all men. I have 2 true life stories from widows to tell you. Story 1, guys, this broke my heart. I actually had to chat Jones-Stevens up later. Now, story 1 is about a widow who has not seen her children in 6 years. After her husband passed, his family cut off communication. And then all of a sudden, they said, oh, we want to come and check on our brother's children, her late husband's families. They came, the relatives came. All was going well. They were laughing, gisting, and eating. She had a 5-year-old boy and a 2-year-old daughter that she was carrying on her back. Unbeknownst to her, while she stepped inside to get something, they spiked her drink with something powerful, with a powerful sleeping drug. By the time she woke up hours later, her children were gone.
What?
Like her children had been kidnapped. Everyone's phones were suddenly off and unavailable. Everyone in the family claimed not to know where the kids were. It has been 6 years. She said they sent her a message some time ago that the kids are alive and well, and they advised her to marry and have other children, that the children belong to them according to tradition, and that she would never see them again. In this Nigeria. Wait, let me give you the second story. Then there was another story. A widow from Ibadan who had lost her husband as well. She had 1 child in her, and they've been friends for a while. In the second story, it was an older widow, and this happened about 20 years ago. The woman had been taking care of her only child for over 5 years. Her in-laws would come to visit regularly and take her son out, and trust had been built. Now, this particular day, the brother-in-law came with his wife again, and they said they wanted to take the kid to Mr. Biggs. She obliged them, and that was the last time she saw her son. This time, the family was honest with her. Her brother-in-law and wife had relocated to America with her son. She was told to be grateful that the boy would be better off with them than growing up with a single mother. Guess what was going on, ladies? During the whole time they would come and they would take him out, that's when they went to adopt him, take him to the embassy. That's all the times they were doing all the necessary, quote-unquote, paperwork, and that's how they absconded with her only child. She has not seen her son in 20 years. The son may not even know that his real mother is in Nigeria. When I saw those stories, I said, there's no way I cannot bring it to the table.
Some things there, when I see a woman participate in this, they brought somebody's child to your house. Let's even say you don't know your husband did that. Won't you question him as to how this boy became a part of your family? And you know that they took this child from his own mother. If they had asked her nicely, she could have obliged them. That, okay, you could be able to give him a better education, he might be able to live a better life. At least she will be able to communicate with her son.
You
from time
completely
to time.
blanked
You
her.
adopted. What legal?
What kind of justice?
I want to know what legal route they followed that made them adopt someone without the mother's consent.
Oh, anything can happen.
Probably they lied that she was dead or
or
something.
something.
You know, I
Anything
told you
can
that I have a family member who adopted. There are ways around these things, especially if you want to travel. There are people who will help you procure a birth certificate and adoption papers. It's not legal, and there's a lot of scrutiny over the adoption process in Nigeria, which is what slows it down for many people, but it's not impossible to get around.
And the saddest part is, it seldom happens that those people would take as good care of that child as they would for their own children. Even if they didn't have their child at the time, when they start having their own children.
Oh, they later had their own children.
Exactly. The child now becomes the house help.
Yeah.
And then starts wondering, are these people even my parents? Do I even have any other?
So all those visits, they were taking him to the passport office, all the times that he would go with them on holidays, getting a new birth certificate, going to the embassy. In fact, the brother-in-law planned it so well because him and his wife at the time did not have children of their own, so they adopted this young boy. He's 30 years old now. She's never heard from him since. The couple have their own children after they relocated, according to the older widow who had told Oluwaseun this story. What baffles me is how.
I think for me is that there are ways to trace this boy. You know he's in the States. There are ways to trace it. Just like she's had patience
should just go
over the
social
years.
media.
You can also have the patience to know how your son is doing, because like you said, he may not know those are not his real parents. And they may not be treating him well or treating him fairly. And he may complain, but he doesn't really know because he's been isolated. He's in the US, so he's isolated from family here. My own is, what kind of jungle thinking is this? In these days and age, I can bet you these are people who sit at the front pews in church.
Raise holy hands.
Yes, these are the ones who raise holy hands in church, and they are the ones who are going for the 21-day fasting, 30-day fasting, and all of that.
100-day fasting.
That's besides the point. How dare you, in this day and age, you label the woman a single mother. You should be grateful that your child will do better there than with a single mother.
How do they
You could have been
know that?
honest with the woman and said, listen, we are going here, this is what we want to do. And nobody, how would you be so wicked to excommunicate the woman from her child?
And I think that
the emotional trauma
there
over
should
the
actually
years.
be documentations. If you're handy, and I think we should stop this, go and live with your uncle for 5 years, and then after a while you just abandon. I think there should be documentation, because there should be a way that, agencies, the NICOM and everything can work hand in hand to bring that boy. I don't think, it's not like he's lost. They can trace the parents if they want. They can trace the husband and wife if they want to.
And she should just go on social media, tell her story, and this boy might actually come into the story. She must know the family name. Because she must know who these people are. Say, these people, this and this and this and this is what they did to me years ago. If you're watching, son, I am your mother. He might look for her. A friend of mine, this happened to a friend of mine too. I just remembered. She was in school when she got pregnant, like secondary school or something. She took care of the boy for like 3 years until she was about to go to university. So she took the boy to the parents of the boy that they should help her take care of him, let her go to uni and come back. Every holiday she would come and pick him. My dear, that was the last time she saw the boy, till now.
And
until some years after, she said like maybe 7 or 15 years after, when they heard she got married, was when the boy called, the father of that child allowed the boy to call her.
And that happens a lot. So a lot of women are scared. One of the things that scares women from leaving some of the abusive relationships they face in Nigeria is that fear. The men will threaten them. They use the children to hold them. And let's be honest, we're in a society that will tell you, oh, you should be even happy that he wants to take care of the child. But he's using the child as a weapon. But coming back to this story, so it shows you that the ones that are not present, they're even still trying to get the children. The ones that come to you with an olive branch and you can't even trust them. The ones that have been with you for 5 years, who have been checking up on you, you can't trust them. And being a widow, when Sean was sharing her story, being a widow is a very precarious spot in our society. Not everybody recognizes it. She spoke about the fact that some women would rather call themselves single mothers than call themselves widows. And is it your fault that your husband died? It is such a horrible place.
For a widow, it's so many things. In Africa, people just assume if you've lost a husband, it has something to do with you.
But why is it that when you lose a wife, they never assume that the husband has something to do with it?
I do not understand if it's a culture block in our heads or, how we were just... there's so many things that are told to us as children and we grew up with it. And so did our parents.
Yeah.
They just think that, oh, it's just like now. How come they are not naming women witches as they used to? Haven't you found that very funny? But
No,
in my
culture
mother's
has-
time,
culture has
evolved.
evolved.
Now, everybody just assumes that, oh, any woman that is single is, at least they will say, if you're a single mother, they will think, okay, she just had a child out of wedlock, it's all right. But when you say widow, it's another kind of single.
Yeah.
And in fact, people don't you know that it's until I started to see Sheofumi that I now noticed that truly African widows or Nigerian widows, they expect you to live a dreary life.
Yes.
If your life is colorful, they think you are not mourning or you are happy about your state. And I'm like,
And then try and dare to remarry. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
But the reverse is always the
Yeah,
case.
exactly.
A woman will die in 6 months.
They're already
They're
pressuring the man.
They're pushing him to somebody. They're telling him, man is not meant to live alone. Oh, you need someone to take care of you.
Yeah.
You need someone to warm your bed. Is it a woman that doesn't need someone to take care of her?
Yeah.
Is it a widow that doesn't need someone to warm her bed and be her helpmate for the rest of her life? So when I read these stories, my heart breaks, and it just comes back again. We have a cultural conversation. We need to break so many cultural barriers and stigmas. But then also it tells you law. One of the stories is more recent than the other, but it tells you that these families are choosing the widows they go after. They can't, I'm very sure if there was a more exposed woman, it's not to say it doesn't happen too,
but at least
they knew what they, they knew the pushback, and we need to empower them. The day that child was taken was the day you should have gone to the police station.
Exactly.
Was the day any agency should have been alerted. Was the day immigration should have been told about it.
It's not hard to track at all. There's no written or even verbal
you call
evidence
the family
that you
name out,
agreed
go to
it.
social media.
But were
that one
they
is helping.
empowered? Think about the situation. So that's why we have to sometimes give grace. Think about the situations these women found themselves in. Were they empowered? Do they even have their own family supporting them to even track these children? I won't be surprised if some family told them, it's okay, you know.
That's true.
It'll be
Just
easier
it
for
as
you
you
to
did a favor.
remarry when you don't have the 2 children with you. You can move on.
Did you know the emotional trauma?
And some would even say, and some would even say that they're doing you a favor. And this thing about weaponizing children, it's not like they care a lot about the child. It's either the child is an insurance plan, the child is to continue
They
the
needed
family
that.
line.
The second family wanted that child because they could not have children at that time.
At that time. That's selfish. Anyway, I'm still struggling to wrap my head around the injustices these women and many other widows face when it comes to their children's welfare, in-laws, and more. As a society, we must do better. We have to do better. Oh, let's take a break to shift gears because when we return, we have 2 first-class graduates of UNILAG to join us here and discuss being part of history-making graduating class. Oyindamola, Arikawe, and Demiladeogo, Bankole, powerful name, are here to share their story. Interesting time coming up, so stay with us.
Made history with the award of first-class honors to 18 exceptional female students. I'm getting goosebumps already. Now, the ladies who have demonstrated unwavering commitment, perseverance, and academic rigor throughout their studies definitely need to be celebrated. And today we are delighted to welcome 2 of these outstanding achievers, Oyindamola Arikawe and Demiladeogo Bankole, to the Jasiri table. Their impressive accomplishments serve as a testament to their intellectual excellence, resilience, and passion for learning. So please join us in celebrating these remarkable women. Welcome, ladies. Thank you.
I don't know who's more excited right now because Lola said me she has
Congratulations.
Welcome.
Congratulations. On making history, or should we say history? History, welcome to Jasiri. Tell us, what was the first thing on your mind when you realized that this graduating set is number 1, first class, and number 2, all female? Anyone can go first.
Okay, let him go first. Okay, so it didn't. So when they released our birth sheets, there's usually this thing that UNILAG does. They bring out your result before the whole announcement, so at least you know where you stand. Okay. Right. So when they did that, I didn't even realize that we were 18, and I didn't realize we were all female. So it was after a while, I'm like, oh, what was on my mind? My friends. I was looking out for my friends. And then I checked the list. I saw my friends' names. I saw almost all of them. The other ones that didn't make a first class, they were on like second class upper.
Yeah.
And then I was so excited until I realized that, come on, we are 18 ladies. And I was super, super, super excited that I was not just one of them, but my friends were also with me. I was really, really pleased and I was excited.
All right,
Show me your friends.
I'll show you who you are.
Oyindamola.
Yeah, so for me, I did not realize until convocation day that we were that number and we were all females. I didn't know. So I, of course, like Demilade said, I checked the broadsheet. I saw that a couple of my friends were on first class, we were good, some other second class upper, and that was it for me. So I didn't go to check everybody on first class. It didn't even click that we were 18. So on convocation day, it's on UNILAG Sun newspaper, and I saw UNILAG graduate 18, all female, and I'm like, wow! And it made me really, really excited, really, really glad. I think it's historical.
It definitely is. You guys made the newspapers, and you're making the Jasiri table because of this, and we're very proud. So let's talk about challenges, because Blessing said, as you guys were coming in, that she was expecting to see smoke coming from your heads, you know, because you're able to finally drop all of it right now, you know, and you've gotten what you've wanted. But in terms of the challenges you faced in working towards this academic excellence, I think a lot of people want to know, did you even have a social life? Were there boyfriends or friends in the picture, as we would say? What sacrifices do you think you made to be able to achieve the first class that you guys received?
That's a brilliant question. Thank you. Yes, we had certain challenges. Let me start from the last question you had. There were certain things I had to sacrifice, and one would be that I just know that I'm in school and I want to concentrate. For me, I had to shut off a lot of distractions.
What were the distractions?
Inclusive, honestly, because I believe that when you understand yourself, you know what to do. You know where to put away the distractions. So for me, I knew that I would not be able to manage both. For some other people, it worked, but for me, I knew I would not be able to manage both, and so I had to put that aside. And of course, one challenge for me is procrastination.
Oh, my friend.
Procrastination and working with deadlines. And so I like that pressure of, oh, the deadline is here. That's when I want to read. That's when I want to do this and do that. And I think at some point I just had to prioritize, because now, as a 300, 400 level, I had other commitments outside school. I had also my campus fellowship. I was an executive holding 2 offices.
You look like
it. And so I knew that I had to prioritize and be disciplined with my time. And so that's it, basically.
Okay.
What was it like for you?
Okay, so there were a lot of challenges, and I remember particularly year 2, I didn't know how to handle a lot of things, right? So I was not just doing academics alone. I didn't want to just go to UNILAG and then I'm only known for the books. I didn't even know if I was going to be known for the books, right? I saw it as an avenue to, you know, explore other aspects. So I was on the UNILAG volleyball school team.
I played volleyball, girl!
Yeah, so I was one of their liberos, right? So we had a lot of trainings. I was also a member of the executive in my department. I served as the treasurer. I also did my fellowship. So there were a lot of responsibilities. And at that moment, I didn't know how I was going to get through with it. Thankfully, and I don't know how I was still able to keep up with my friend. Oyinda that is here. When she said she procrastinates, I'm the one that used to remind her, after your assignment, have you started it? Asking. So I was not just, and she would say, I've not done it yet or something. And then I was always following up on my friends, right? Not only Oyin, but I also had people to follow up on me, right? So it was like, even though there were challenges, I was able to overcome it. Yes. And then I had people that were able to help me through it, right? So that was basically it.
Honestly, I don't know. I'll cry because I'm not your parent, but I'm so proud.
Yeah.
I like the fact that
She's crying.
She's already crying. Sorry.
Lolo is crying.
Sorry.
So Lolo loves people like you, to be honest.
Honestly, I like the fact that when children go to school, they form friendships that enrich their lives.
Absolutely.
Just as they've been able to find friendships that help them towards their academic excellence. That is how people go to school and find friendships that just derail them.
Their lives.
So it's so heartwarming to see. It's not, I'm succeeding, but it's sweeter when we succeed together.
Yes.
Look at all of them. They can proudly come out and say, this is what our friendship, gave us. Sorry, I'm like that.
It's okay.
I would ask about your day-to-day routines, because sometimes a lot of students will be looking at you as inspiration. I have a daughter in 300 level who is pushing the same, path. And I just want to know what your routine are. Did you all start together from year one, or did some people join along the way? How did you guys find yourselves? Because sometimes you're wondering that, okay, how did you, is it that when you guys met, everybody say, oh, we're going to just push
Later,
you come together.
Were you
because
just from
I have friends that they'll say, oh, I wasn't friends with her in 100 level. I didn't even like her at all. But something brought us together. How was it? Walk us through some of that.
Okay, so I have a friend, and she happens to be the BGS for amongst us, Demiladeogo, best graduating. And right from year one, we've been friends. We used to read together. At some point, we stopped, but you know this thing where it's like fate is bringing you back together. That was how it was for Temi. So we always found our way back together. And for Oyin here, Oyin was a direct entry student. So she joined us in year two. Yes. So I don't know how, I was still thinking about it this morning. Oyin, how did I become your friend? And I don't know. I just remember that in year two, I was always going to her room. I felt like, when I think about it now, I felt like I was always on her neck, like, this girl, no breathing space. I've seen you, you're going to be my friend, you don't have a choice. That was how it felt for me. And some other people too. Really, personally, I'm a very social person. So quite a number of people are familiar with me, at least even if we don't have that deep talk, but I'll greet you, you see me, I'll hug you. I mean, we are friends, right? So quite a number of them also, that's like the 17 or 16 others now, right? So they were people that I related well with, right? And all together, I don't know, we just found our way together, and I just want to thank God, because
Did you all go to the same fellowship in school?
No.
Different ones?
Yes.
I like the individuality, even though,
they found
some nexus, something connecting them.
So I want to ask a question, because I think amongst all the other ladies, I'm the one who has the freshest memory of school. Because I'm fresh off. No, I'm saying, like, at least I'm the closest to...
Excuse you.
You get what I'm saying.
Continue the question without the shade.
Okay. Basically, I'm trying, and this is not to water down any effort or anything, but I want to ask, so there's usually two types of knowledge or two types of growth, the residual and then the strategic, right? So residual is follow come. You're smart naturally. You don't read, you pass. I had a friend like that in school, and I hated him for it. He would follow us to class to read and distract us. Right? Like he wasn't. It's not because he was trying to distract them, go and read in secret. He just wasn't interested in reading. The reason he was following us to class is so they won't think he's unserious. And then results come out, and we're at the same pace. I'm like, how are you doing? In fact, he's the one reminding us. Oh no, this is what we read. But you didn't read it, right? How do you know it? So there is that, right? And I feel like for those kind of people, all they need is a little kind of push. Have you done your assignment? Have you put the test? They're like, textbook, which textbook? You know. But so it's just a little extra effort they need. But for those who, require strategic, they're the ones that burn the midnight candle. They're the ones that have to read and cram and remember. Did this play a part in any of your stories? You look like you have the residual knowledge. Yes.
So I'm an Arikawe.
Exactly. Your black people say,
I'm telling you. And how did that help? And if you didn't have it, how did you build it? Yes.
I think regardless, you still have to put in you still have to put in effort. Whether you have the residual or not, you still have to do the work. Do you understand? And so, I mean, right from primary school, secondary school, I've always been, best graduating, prizes and all of that. But with university, you realize that there are distractions and then it takes a lot of effort. Do you understand? For me, like I said before, I'm not the type to start reading 2 months before exam or 3 months before exam. I'll probably read like 2 weeks to exam or a week to exam. Because then I can...
it's fresh.
It's fresh in my memory. So I had that. But I had to still do overnight, read, just put in the work generally, apart from the fact that I believe that I have a brilliant mind. Yes, I have a brilliant mind. I know that, but it does not excuse putting the work and just taking that.
It's the way she said, Arikawe. Like she knows her.
I'm interested in the journey and whether there was any point through your first year to your final year where you felt overwhelmed, Maybe there was a period in your time, in your academic life where at a point it was just too much and you break down. You have people who do that depending on what they study and how it's affecting, how they're taking it. There are people who you would tension, for example. You start reading for exams a week before you're good. Some people have to read, trust me, a semester for exams. So if you had those overwhelming periods, how did you overcome them?
Okay, so unlike Oyin, I was someone that I had to start reading early. And the fun thing about me is that I don't do overnight. I never did overnight. I could count maybe just once. And whenever I did that overnight, I knew that's not my call. That is not for you.
Not my way.
You're just whining yourself there, literally. And I know that by the time next day when I'm trying to remember what I've read, I can't even remember anything. So I knew that one was not for me.
How was then your formula? Because that was her formula overnight. If you didn't do overnight, how did you then study?
So
in addition to the question I asked.
So I was someone that I read during the day. I understood myself. I'm not a night person. I read during the day. Though I had activities that sort of, I was engaged with during the day, but it's not the whole time. When you look at it, when you have so I had a schedule. I knew, okay, by 8 to 10, I'm in class, 9 to 10. So whenever I don't have classes, those period, in my head, I've put library, though sometimes I could go and be gisting with my friends. Just saying. And then in the evening, around 7 to 10, you realize that most of the time you're just in the hostel because I stayed on campus. You're waiting for space. You're waiting to go and cook and all of that. Instead of doing that, so I just decided that, I'm not going to be doing that rush with you guys. I'm just going to, go and read. When I get back, I know the kitchen will be free. So I would start cooking, eating late, or sometimes, I don't know, God will just miraculously send my friends, come and eat, have you eaten today or something, right? And I also thank God for my mom. There were times she just packed food, this is your meal, what you eat and everything. So I didn't have to bother so much about that, right? So everything, I knew that there were times that it felt challenging, but what I did was that I had to come up with a schedule for myself. This time is training. So whenever I look at my schedule, if you need me to do something, I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't do that.
Understand that.
I think for me, it was, there was the external pressure. From my parents,
So I was going to ask about that. What role did your families play?
Yes, and so there's a reminder in my head, these people, at the end of the day, they are waiting for results. Even though if you don't still make it, they would understand. But I just knew.
There was an expectation.
And there was an expectation. And now it feels like a worthy burden has been taken off me.
Are you the first child?
No, I'm the second.
Are you the only girl?
No, I have a junior sister.
But yeah, the first girl.
So she will take up the burden.
We have passed this challenge.
So I'm also grateful for friends because in those times that it was overwhelming, I'll call my friend, how are you doing this?
Do you break down?
Course.
Did you ever break down?
Do you cry? Yes, actual tears.
Falling your
Yes, I'm tired, I'm exhausted. Also times where we have other engagements in school. Probably other offices that we have to commit to, and then there's still academics. You still have to read, and you're like, how do I handle all of these things?
Did you have to be in those committees?
So don't answer that. We're going on a break because that question comes up. Because what would they have done differently, knowing everything they've gone through? Let's take a quick time out. We continue the conversation in just a moment. This is Jasiri, where we bring you bold, inspiring, and courageous conversations. Today, we are on the inspiring side of things as we highlight the historic all-female first-class graduating set of the Department of Mass Communication of UNILAG. 18 young women made history together, and we have two of them with us today, Oyindamola, Arikawe, and Demiladeogo, Bankole. So let me ask you guys, because Catherine was going there, so let's go back to it. Looking back, after you have taken off this magnificent burden and dropped it, is there anything you would have done differently? Anyone of you can start.
Okay, so for me, I believe that all of the things that I did, it was me being led to do them. And I also believe that those things have formed who I am now. And so if I didn't have some of those experiences, I probably would not be who I am now. But looking back, is there any other thing I would have done? I feel like I would have been a little more engaged in certain activities. I feel like I was very focused on, you see this first class, I must get it. And so I had to put away some certain things and just, this goal, I must get it. But I feel like maybe I would have still been able to manage my time and accommodate some other things. Yes.
Like that boy that you refuse to agree to.
There's time to make up for that.
Okay, so personally, I would say that if I could go back, I would do everything almost the same way, right? Because I was involved in a lot of things, that some of them, I can't remember that, I actually did this.
Two different people.
There were times I would go to Oyin's room and I'll ask her, Oyin, are you not going for this activity? Because I was in the department, I was part of the ESCOs. I asked her, Oyin, are you not going to come for MCSA week, for instance? She would say, no, I beg, I'm too tired, I can't do that. But then you see me there, I would always show up. So I was involved, right? Okay. So I would say that maybe just more real life experiences, open opportunities, that would have been what I would have done differently.
Let's go back to the family matter. You mentioned that sometimes your mom would come with packed food and things, and you mentioned, I won't say the pressure, but the expectation. Yeah. Your parents made it clear that this is what we expect from you. So let's talk about families in this. What role did they play? And I know your parents are probably watching. Very, very proud, very excited, and you deserve. They deserve to be proud of your achievements as well. So upbringing, because I think that might be a lesson for parents here. Again, with the emphasis being the fact that you guys are two different people. There's someone that was almost a social butterfly and she was still able to do first class, and someone who chose not to be a social butterfly and got her first class. So in terms of your upbringing, what role do you think your upbringing played in you being able to achieve what you achieved? Let me start with you, Demiladeogo.
Okay, so personally, from my parents' side, they didn't apply pressure on me. So I have an older sister, and she also finished from pharmacy first class, right? But it didn't feel like I had any pressure on me to, come out with first class. Even right from when JAM days, they didn't say, oh, you must go and study this course. They gave me free will, like, it's your life. Yeah. You have the say, you have the final say. I'm not going to force you or push you to do anything.
You must be lawyer, doctor,
engineer. No, they were not like that. So they wanted you to carry out your own dream, not that they are forcing you. Yeah. And they were very, very supportive, right? I mean, my mom bringing food, and she had her own things too she was doing. So though I know that there was no pressure, I didn't do this to an extent, I did it for them. But it was more of me. What do I want? I want to come out with a first class. I don't want to be an average student. I want to excel everything I do. Yeah. So that was it for me. No pressure, but I still want to make you proud.
Yeah. Interesting. Oyindamola.
So I'm going to adopt your word and say it's expectation.
Sorry. Easy.
So the expectation was there. Sorry, I think I need
cough. Go ahead.
We're human on this table.
Yes.
We cough.
Can we get her water, please?
I believe that the expectation was there for me.
Okay, hold it. Don't worry. We'll get water. We'll get water. Let it be clear.
Okay, maybe I should just go back to Demiladeogo. I know that by now you know how inspiring and impactful your achievements have, made a lot of young girls out there. A lot of them are going to be wondering that I can't do this. And that is something you should know, that is another weight of responsibility. Nigerians have struggled with, gender gaps in education. We've had girl-child education, poverty in some areas, in some states. Now, looking at your own academic journey, what would you think needs to change? Or what do you think they can do better or do more of, to help girl children achieve more success? Because I know we can.
Okay.
What kind, if I may add there, what kind of advice, because I think your parents had, I wouldn't say it was gentle parenting, but I think the fact that your parents allowed you express who you are, who you wanted to be. No one put a gun to your head and said, okay, you must be a lawyer, you must be a structural engineer, you must know. You just followed your path. So I think in answering that, also give advice to parents also, how to guide their children through to tertiary level, and how to help them ease their children into making the choice of study they want to study.
Okay. So to the young ladies, I don't want to call you girls because you guys are big people and you're going to be big as well, right? I would say that don't give room for pressure, right? Set your goals, know what you want for yourself, but one thing about me, I don't like pressure. I don't like pressure when people are rushing me.
Like that soft girl.
Like, don't bring, hurry up. No, I don't want that, right? So whenever people bring that my way, I know how, by the help of God, actually, I know how I'll distance myself, right? And I know the wisdom I will apply to that situation or whatever situation it is, right? So I would say that don't allow pressure. Know what you want for yourself. Even if people say, oh, come out with a first class, don't do it because they are telling you to. Do it because you want it for yourself. Know what you want for yourself, and don't settle for less. I mean, there is more out there. There is more out there. You can be more. It's not just you just saying, oh, let me just finish school. No, don't just finish school. Finish excellently, right? And you can do it. Honestly, I was not the brightest of students. I mean, I was always, I would say, more of an average student, right? But then look at me now. I mean, I'm not boasting in myself. I know that I would not have done this without God, right? So I would also say that you need to hold on to God. I don't want to force you to a religion. I mean, I'm saying no pressure, right? But I would say that my God, though, has been good to me, really, really good. There were times that you see that He's directing you to the right path and all. So hold on to what you believe, basically, and just trust that God will align you and remain aligned. It's not just God giving you a vision, but run with it. You put in the work, right? Don't just get the vision and then you're like going to sleep. No, put in the work, and hopefully by God's grace, you see the result. And to parents, honestly, you can have your own style. I can't limit you because, oh, this is what my parents did. What might work for me might not work for your children, right? So, but you need to understand your children. Don't just give them, oh, go and do this, you must do. If you don't do this course, I'm not going to pay your school fees. I remember one of my friends told me that her dad was like that. She was thinking of changing her mind. They were already on their way to market. I said, oh yeah, turn back. We are going back. He stopped the car on the road and everything. So you don't have to listen to your children. They are not robots that you just give machine language, okay, do this, run this thing, and all of that. No, listen to what they have to say and just do it with love. Basically, if you are going to be hard on them, let them understand that it's coming from a place of love and not just you doing it because you want them to be where you didn't get to be. Because I know that that's the issue also. You see people saying that, oh, I wanted to be a lawyer, but since I can't be a lawyer, my children would. No, don't do that. They have their own vision. If not, that would just be an endless cycle because you see the children also, they are growing up. Me too, my children, I want because my parents, but that shouldn't be how
Hot girl.
And by the way, I think I know the title of this book you just wrote. Your Guide to First Class Life by Demiladeogo Bankole. Very,
So
very
now, are you
inspiring
feeling better?
words.
Do you want to take the government angle? That what do you think that the government can do better to force, to make this like a common thing where girl children have better education, more opportunities?
I think that we need to look at the fact that the girl child is not a second option. We are not second options. We can compete on the same level. And I think that platforms, opportunities should be created for the girl child to actually explore, because I believe that 18 ladies, it just shows that we can compete at the top.
Yeah.
It just shows that if we are given the opportunity, we can shine brightly. And so even in organizations, allow the girl child. And I would want to answer the previous question about expectations. For me, my parents used to give us gifts when we come out top. Right from primary,
What did you get this time? A car?
primary, secondary, even if it's a little, they'll give us something just to show that there's a reward for excellence.
Yeah.
And my father is a preacher of excellence. And so even people that are doing well up there, it would only show us. You see, there's no limit to who you can be. Look at this lady. Look at this woman.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying? And so right from time, that expectation, that subtle expectation, and a reminder that if these people could do it, I can't do it also. And so I believe that parents should also allow children realize who they are.
Yeah.
I think that you should give them the opportunity to be their own person, because it forms who they become. At the end of the day, you see some people who easily cower because they depend on their parents for certain decisions, do this, do that. And so they should allow them be who they are. And for young ladies, define what excellence means to you. For some people, it's not first class.
Yes.
Do you understand what I'm saying? For some people, it's a different thing. Define what excellence means to you and run with it. And by God's grace, you can achieve whatever you set your mind to do. I feel like they're lecturing me. I feel like I'm.
So you hear? Be what you want to be.
Parents do better. They have seen us finish.
So
really, they've
I
seen us
really
finish.
like,
don't have a lot of time
I like
left.
the point that she made. The fact that, because a lot of people have this predisposition that if you didn't start off as excellent, you don't necessarily have to
get to
put in
it.
your effort. Yeah. So you can start off, you could have started off as average, but you can decide to be excellent, and then you can. And it doesn't have to be, if it's too late to get a first class, like she said, it can be anything. Remember when Hilda Bassi, it inspired different things in different people. It inspired consistency for me. It inspired the, reward for hard work. So it can be anything. To
Yes,
anybody.
whatever you want,
right.
whatever you set your mind to do, I believe that you can achieve it. I think this just shows our individual decisions.
Yeah.
Because the 18 of us are not best of friends.
Sure.
For some of us, we just started talking 400 level second semester.
Yeah.
So we were not that close, yes. But it shows that the individual decisions that we made, I want to get to the top, or I want this, it has now
Worked for you
worked
guys.
for us
All right,
together.
so final question because of time. So what are the future plans? Are we keeping you in Nigeria? Are we losing you to the abroad? Is somebody going straight to masters? What is academics calling you? I know there's something, but after that, that's a given. But after that, what's the plan?
Is
Demiladeogo,
someone
very
marrying
quickly.
immediately?
Because I'm very sure there's been someone who has been waiting. Okay, she has collected first.
Yes, can I have that?
Demiladeogo, very quickly because of time. Demiladeogo.
Okay, so for me, I mean, after NYSC, I planned that I would further my master's abroad, but I'm not a jackpot girl. I plan to come back to Nigeria and fund or start. I mean, there are a lot of things to do in Nigeria. I believe Nigeria can be better. I believe Nigeria will be better.
Yeah.
And if you are running away, who would do the work, right? So that's one of the goals for me. Build my business, or I didn't even mention that I own a cake brand, right?
So please, if I buy your cake, would anybody that eats it be
Okay, so that's the plan. Come back, go expand my knowledge, get more, and come and pour it here.
I'll ask you again when you go. No, like when she gets
When she comes back, when she's coming back. All right, so very
For me,
quickly.
of course, service. I plan to serve, and during my service, I plan to actually get as much corporate world experience as possible. Then afterwards, I want to do my master's in one of the countries abroad. Just further my education, and afterwards actually come back. Because apart from wanting to come back, I don't think the weather there is for me at all. But I truly want to come back. I want to also pour the knowledge that I've gotten here. Whether it's starting my own agency, because I want to really do corporate comms, PR and advertising, whether it's starting my own agency, whether it's pouring the things that I've gotten into the system here, I think that I want to come back. And afterwards, married.
Okay. I want to say a word to their parents. Thank you.
Thank you.
Like, you've done an amazing job with these two young women here. We are exceptionally proud. I can't be as proud as you are, but we are proud of the children you have raised.
Can I take a moment
Thank you.
to
We gotta,
also
they will kick us down.
also thank all of our lecturers.
Right.
Yes, they did a good job.
Dr. Shaibu.
All of them.
They will give us a list.
I'm sorry.
So we're saying thank you.
Fantastic.
University of Lagos, Department of Mass Communication, our lecturers.
So strikes are not
thank you
effective.
so much.
Let's go.
Thank you. And Jasiri watchers, thank you for all your
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you.